The Trump administration cracking down on free speech and using Mahmoud Khalil as basically the test case for how they're going to go after a variety of different protest movements is, I think, the right way to look at it. It's also just, I would say, been enabled by the Democratic Party and the kind of
oh yes.
Yeah, I know you're not contradicting that, but here's Tommy Tuberville on with Fox Business, and you know, Tommy Tuberville down in Alabama is just very concerned about anti-Semitism, but he's asked by the host of The Bottom Line on Fox Business about the detention of Mahmoud Khalil. And this is how he reacts. This is going to be, I think, this is the Republican line. This is how protesters should be treated.
As America's once great elite universities plummet to new lows, Senate Democrats are more concerned with securing the release of an alleged terrorist sympathizer than rebuilding our academic standards. Well, how about just not graduating kids from high school who are functionally illiterate? Senate Judiciary Democrats posted on X, quote, free Mahmoud Khalil. That was what they actually had the audacity. The Senate Judiciary.
I'm sorry. By the way, Alabama 45th in the country in education out of 50. So they brought on the right guy.
It must be all the teachers' unions that are massively empowered in that state.
Yeah. At one point in the interview, Tuberville blames teachers' unions administrators for being the people that are not educating the population enough.
If they got rid of all of the functionally illiterate adults, who would watch Fox News? Like,
I mean,
come on.
Tommy Tuberville would have to leave Congress. He didn't know what the three branches of government were just last year as a senator.
Tommy Tuberville quit and was paid like millions of dollars for it. Quit college football.
Yeah.
Dems. Are they like that in private too? Because that's atrocious.
Yeah, it's a shame. You know, the Democrats basically, you know, they don't like our country anymore. They just want to, you know, tear it down. They're going to take this guy's side. Every Democrat that we work with up here, they're going to take this guy's side, and they're going to try to.
Sorry. This our country stuff. He's protesting Israel. That's not my country. I have nothing to say for Israel, actually. I would rather our government did less for them, frankly. And I think it's actually American to say so. And conflating America and Israel as the same thing, that's weird to me.
Well, they're both colonial. They're both colonial projects. They're ideological sisters.
Drive this narrative that he's doing the right thing. He's the people we should be backing. The heck with education. You know, we have two levels of education. We have K through 12 and we have higher ed. We've got to treat both of them different. But when it comes to protesters, we got to make sure we treat all of them the same. Mm-hmm. Send them to jail. Free speech is great, but hate free speech is not what we need in these universities, and they don't need to be doing things that they're preaching from Hamas about anti-Semitism.
Oh, about antis.
He's not beating the allegations on that one.
Can we go back and play about anti-sediment, rock sediment?
Senator, let's move on to number 3.
Just go back 5 seconds.
And Trump's tariffs.
Come on, player.
Don't need to be doing things that they're preaching from Hamas about anti-Semitism.
You know, as a senator from Alabama, I can tell you a thing or two about hate. Right, I know anti-sediment when I see it down here in Alabama.
I hate anti-Semitism almost as much as I hate them Duke boys.
Oh, anyway, back to the anti-sediment.
Oh my God, man! Anytime the second you said Emma, you opened up this segment with here's Tommy Tuberville. And that's all you need to tell me to know I'm about to hear the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life.
But it's all the administrators and the unions that aren't educating our kids. I'm sorry, Matt. Just really quickly, can you pull up his quote about? Or I'll just read it. This is from 2020 about the three branches of government. Tommy Tuberville. Yeah, and that's how our government was set up. You know, our government wasn't set up for one group to have all three branches of government. It wasn't set up that way. Our three branches, the House, the Senate, and the executive. So that is not true. That is not the three branches of government. He forgot the judiciary, and he divided the House and the Senate. So maybe he needs a little bit more education.
And as far as the whole, you're in trouble if you do hateful stuff during protests, first of all, those protests are not hateful. It's not hateful to say eradicate the West, particularly when the West is being defined as the billions of dollars to do a genocide in Palestine thing. But Trump pardoned a whole bunch of people en masse, including a guy that wore a Camp Auschwitz shirt to Congress.
Yeah. Yeah. But
I've seen this online where people ask for proof of what did Mahmoud Khalil do to what is the charge based on? Like, what? Give me an example. And people put together like these long threads of him literally just like talking to the media about why they're protesting, like, and what they're protesting for, and it's just like your basic like activist speech. Like, there's nothing. They can't even provide evidence, a single thing, a morsel of evidence that somewhat abstractly backs their claim. They got nothing.
There's been attempts to make shit up, including like about guns and brochures and stuff. And then the Trump administration is actually like, no, that's actually, we're not even saying that. We're saying he's doing a protest that calls for a university to divest investments from an apartheid state aligns with terrorism. I will just repeat, and you'll see like people talk about, well, they occupied property. The protests against South Africa, which called for the same sort of divestment, also occupied halls at the same university. It's good to do that for a good cause. And it's likewise, if you see a segregated lunch counter, you violate the property rights and go fucking sit there until the segregation goes away. This is what protest is.
Yep.
Right.
Exactly.
But
right.
even those protest actions aren't like crimes that would, in any sense. At most, it's like a civil infraction.
Right.
I mean, they want to make it illegal to protest. They want to make it illegal to exercise your First Amendment rights in this country as things start to get worse and worse economically for the vast majority of Americans. And that money is being like publicly funneled to Trump's billionaire friends because they can see the writing on the wall. And they understand, I think, that Israel is a very good wedge issue for Democrats because they're desperate to seem, well, I mean, a lot of them are Zionists, but also they're desperate to seem reasonable. And so like they can be easily manipulated into making these incredibly milquetoast statements that give tons of legitimacy to this infringement on the First Amendment, just like they are capable. I mean, it's like they're very easily led to give tons of ammo to the far right for like anti-immigration stuff. And they know that like deep down, a lot of Democrats don't understand the difference between anti-Semitism and opposition to Israel because they've had that mixed up in their heads through the 20, 30 years of neoliberal identity politics. And so this is going to be a perfect way to get. Yeah, and absolutely. And it's going to be a perfect way to get a lot of liberals on the side of the total erosion of the First Amendment and the total demonization and criminalization of protest right before people are going to start really needing to protest in America for their rights to have access to basic necessities.
Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.